What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Mindset Monday or Mindset Motivation. I have a really short and spicy episode for you here today. It's a little bit later on the Monday if you guys are tuning in live each week, but if you're catching this in a few weeks or a few years, that doesn't really matter. Today I want to talk a little bit more about starting your self-development journey and really becoming the version of yourself and the version of the entrepreneur you know you can be. Because a lot of you are executing in your business and you're doing great, but you're essentially pouring from an empty cup. You're applying an unoptimized version of yourself to your business, and it's got you this far, it's got you to this level of success, but you know that there's more left in the tank, and you know that for every ounce of effort you're putting in right now, you're not getting that much out. And there's a version of yourself that puts in X amount of effort that gets 3X the amount of output, where maybe that version of yourself is the energized version of yourself, where you have sustainable energy each day or confidence, or you don't have to worry about health issues or pending health issues anymore, or maybe you just have dialed in routines and feel a lot more organized, or maybe a combination of the above, or maybe you just know you're going to live longer due to your health and fitness, and therefore as a result of that you tend to put more into your business and create a bigger long-term vision. Whatever the case is for you, there's a version of yourself that's able to do and create more in business, and it may be time that you start looking at becoming that version of yourself. Because if you are overweight, if you do have a little bit of fat or a lot of extra fat that you need to lose, you are looking at risks of different health conditions, right? And you're looking at ultimately a premature death, whether that's an early death by a year or 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. If you die early, you're not going to achieve your max potential, right? And so this is the bottom line. And wherever you're at in your journey, it's likely that you either haven't started because it's intimidating, or you haven't started because you're not sure what to do, or maybe you have started and it didn't really work out and now you're just kind of not really doing much. And particularly when it comes to fitness and starting your health and fitness journey as an entrepreneur, it can be tough because there's the regular amount of challenges, but then there's the extra spicy challenges that come with being an entrepreneur, including travel in some situations, including the amount of mental and emotional bandwidth you have to apply to business, regardless of how much it demands of you. And it can just get very complicated and very difficult to prioritize something like your self-growth or your health and fitness. And in this video, I want to communicate the ROI of starting your journey, and also one key mindset of starting your journey as well. The ROI is that it's what I mentioned before, right? If you develop yourself, if you develop your health, your fitness, your energy, think about the difference. Let's just look at the day. Let's look at the micro, right? If you wake up tomorrow, and you can just imagine, close your eyes for a second. You wake up tomorrow and it's a regular day of business. You can look at your calendar for tomorrow even and just imagine yourself. If you had all the weight off that you've been trying to lose, if you had a boatload of energy and confidence, if you woke up feeling like you're firing on all cylinders, right? If you had that mental and cognitive sharpness that maybe you feel like you're sometimes lacking, what would the difference be just in one day? How much more work would you get done? How much more effective would your hours be? How much more of a lethal version of yourself would you be in that team meeting, or in that partner meeting, or in that sales call? And you can just imagine, or whatever your schedule looks like, right? And so just imagine yourself, just that version of yourself, that's 30, 50, 80% more optimized, how much of a difference that can make just in one day. And then if we bring that out to a week, a month, a year, it's a completely different trajectory in your life, let alone 10 years or 20 years. It's a completely different result you create in your life. It's a completely different life. And so that's the ROI. And the crucial mindset that I want to communicate with you is that it's going to be hard in the beginning, right? It'll be challenging. And there's ways to make it easier. And for example, you may have already tried an approach that didn't really work. Maybe you hired a trainer. Maybe you tried a very kind of vigorous workout routine. Maybe you went all or nothing. It's common for you A-type entrepreneurs to go all or nothing with something like this, where you say, you know what, I'm going to do 75 hard, or I'm going to work out every day and do this and do that and go keto. And there's nothing inherently wrong with any of those things. I'm a huge advocate of 75 hard. I've done it myself. I'm probably going to do it again in a few months. But it may not be the right solution for you starting your journey as a busy entrepreneur. It may or it may not be, right? And so perhaps a bit more of a feasible, sustainable approach might work for you. But the point is, there's ways to make it easier, committing to, less invasive protocols, time and energy-wise, may be a better fit for you. For example, committing to, 5 15-minute workouts to start, or 3 20-minute workouts a week to start. And just simply looking at improving your water intake and looking at how many calories you're consuming as kind of just like a random place to start. And that's a very common place to start that we look at with our clients is their fitness, calories, hydration, sometimes other areas like sleep and protein. It depends on where the client's at. But, there's an easier way to do it. There's the all or nothing approach, and then there's a more sustainable approach. And maybe higher leverage stuff for you also looks like different mindset techniques, right? Maybe you're dealing with some very emotional or psychological kind of opponents, we'll call them right now. And so maybe a habit like meditation would be super high leverage for you, or journaling. All of you are going to have a different starting place with a different high leverage area of opportunity, right? No matter where that place is, you can start with just some simple commitments to get the ball rolling. This is crucial. There's plenty of time down the road to optimize your routine. And you don't have to start with all the bells and whistles on your routine right now. You don't have to start with a fully optimized routine, with a fully loaded morning routine and evening routine and ace your entire day. Like, it doesn't need to be the case. And often it doesn't turn out to be the right way to start because it gets to get way too overwhelming and then you don't do anything. So just as a side tip, start with a few commitments for the next 30, 90 days and then build off of it, build off of that momentum. But no matter how small you tend to start, the first 30 days, the first 90 days, it will be a bit more challenging because you're doing something new. You're leaning up against an edge of your identity. Up until this point, you may have had, either consciously or unconsciously, the identity of being a bit unhealthy, of being a bit overweight. That's just what you're used to. You're used to being that guy or that gal. And it's just comfortable. It's who you know yourself to be. It's who others know you to be, right? And so when you start deploying different behavior and you start acting differently and prioritizing different things, you start working out. You start, instead of just watching the extra Netflix episode, you go and work out, right? Or instead of getting that extra can of, Ben and Jerry's, you opt for, a smoothie instead, right? As an alternative to hit your sweet craving for the night. Whatever the case may be, you're going to start doing different things and you're going to start using your time in different ways. And it's going to be uncomfortable because your body and your tongue, taste buds, are used to a certain cadence of pleasure, right? And now, instead of giving into all the short-term pleasure, which really sacrifices the long-term pleasure, you're delaying gratification in the short term, which will give you the long-term pleasure you truly want, which is to become the max potential version of yourself, to make massive strides in your vision, and ultimately create the life and the business you're truly capable of. And by the way, you can still eat Ben and Jerry's. I'm gonna have Ben and Jerry's right after this podcast. I'm gonna have pizza and Ben and Jerry's right after this podcast. So I want to over communicate the fact that you don't have to take out all your pleasures in order to do this. It's about moderation. It's about quantity, right? And there's strategies behind that based on how many calories you need to eat to lose weight. But the punchline is there will have to be some sacrifice made, probably, in regards of your diet. But it's well worth it. And every client that we've helped in this area has advocated for the fact that good energy and confidence and health feels way better than good food tastes in the moment, because they're able to give so much more of themselves to their business and to their family and to their friends and to their relationships and to their team, right? And then after you crush a week in business as a higher level version of yourself that's just absolutely crushing it, that can of Ben & Jerry's tastes a lot better, right? And so there's a very cool balance to be struck there, but you don't have to worry about that too much right now. But my message for you today is, 1, get started. The commitments can be very simple. 2, expect some discomfort. It's normal. It's expected. It's kind of like when your parents forced you to brush your teeth when you were a kid. You didn't want to do it. You didn't want to put that weird stuff in your mouth, right? And they forced you to do it. They held you accountable. But now you feel weird if you don't do it, if you don't brush your teeth, right? Prioritizing your health and your fitness and your self-development is the same way. It might feel weird at the start. You might have to force yourself to do it. You might have to force someone else, or you might have to get someone else to force you to do it. But after a month, after 2 months, after 8 months, after a year and a half, it's going to feel like it's a part of you. You're going to feel weird if you don't do it, and you're going to want to do it. It's not going to feel like a chore anymore. It's going to feel like something you really look forward to. And this is a crucial milestone that we point out in all clients, that moment. Some clients, it happens a week in, some clients, it happens a year in, but it always happens. And it's a crucial milestone to hit, because it's one of the things that really ensures that you're never, ever going to fall off again. But it's important that you follow a strategy sustainable enough until you hit that point, because if you go too hard, too fast, it's going to feel like a chore, overwhelm, you fall off, and all you knew it to be was a chore. You didn't see the other side. And so you have to follow a sustainable strategy long enough to actually see the other side, to make that internal identity shift for the long term, because that's how, it's inconsequential whether you get abs this month or next month or 4 months from now. But if you follow a sustainable strategy at the start, long enough to make the identity shift, long enough to continue to optimize and add to your routine, you're going to get whatever body you want in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You're going to get shredded. You're going to have the abs. You're going to have the muscle. Like, it just takes time, right? And you're also going to be able to create whatever other self-development related changes you want, whether you want to upgrade your mindset or your health, or you want to dive into your spirituality or your routines or your discipline or your productivity or your organization. You're going to start going on the offensive. You're going to start feeling more confident, and you're going to start attacking. You're going to get more in touch with the version of yourself you're truly capable operating as. And as a result, you're going to create more profound results in your business, and everything's just going to start compounding off of that, right? But it all starts with getting started, okay? And that's really the punchline for today. So, again, if you're an entrepreneur that really wants to become the elite version of yourself, again, getting started with small commitments, expecting a bit of, resistance, expecting it's going to be a little bit mentally challenging, perhaps here and there. Get started immediately, because the clock is ticking. We don't have as much time as we think. And if you are overweight, if you are, looking at impending health issues or current health issues, the clock is really ticking, right? So get on this for sure. If you do want extra guidance, feel free to book a call with myself. The link will be in the description. Just a free call, just, where you can connect, and I get to learn a little bit more about your situation, and you can learn a little bit more about what we have going on at Elite Self. But either way, get started, right? Getting started is the key, and you can get started right here, right now. You can make a commitment right now, saying, you know what, I'm going to start doing this amount of workouts for this amount of time, and I'm going to drink this amount of water, and you know what, I'm going to, stop drinking so much soda. You can make a few small commitments like that, and bam, you're suddenly in forward momentum. So if you know that there's some low-hanging fruit that you can get the ball rolling with immediately, do it, and do it right now. Make the change. Get in touch with why this is important. Again, I mentioned the ROI at the beginning. Get in touch with that ROI or your own ROI, right? Because you'll have your own why this is important to you. So get in touch with that and get the ball rolling. And that's my message for you today. I hope that was useful, and I hope you crush the rest of your week. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram. The link will also be in the description. If you have any feedback about this episode, or if you have any suggestions for future episodes, or any other questions about anything, my door's always open for you guys. And if you did enjoy this episode, I would greatly appreciate you leaving a rating and review. I'm excited to really grow this podcast and serve ambitious entrepreneurs and really help you guys become the versions of yourself you're truly capable of, so you can create your max potential vision. And I'm going to share lessons and strategies along my journey as well, because it's also my, mission to become my elite self and max out my potential in life and business. And both of these areas are both moving finish lines, right? There's no, you've never made it in self-development. You've never really made it depending on, you can define whatever you want to be a success in business, and you can say you made it here or you made it there or whatever. But ultimately, as growth-minded, ambitious entrepreneurs, there's probably going to always be a moving finish line in business as well. And so I'm here to share my journey with you guys, and I hope the things I'm saying helps you in some way or inspires you in some way. And again, let me know if I can, be better, or if you have any future suggestions. So without further ado, we'll leave it at that for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Monday. Peace out.